Hey leaders, thanks for watching this video where you can stay up to date on important elements of the life of the Lakeland Heights campus, as well as take a few minutes to invest in yourself as a leader. And the thing that I want to just put in your plate today as far as the life of our church is really important. I'm excited, just a couple weeks, I think it's only like a week and a half or 2 weeks away, we are going to be doing our 3-year anniversary as the Lakeland Heights campus. I'm incredibly excited. We've got some really special elements that are going to be part of the service and outside of the service. The lobby is going to be fantastic. We're going to have the gym packed full of stuff for the kids with inflatables and activities and snacks. And it's going to be amazing Sunday. And it's just a great way for us to celebrate everything that God has done in the life of the Lakeland Heights campus. And I want you to push this down with the people in your group and just remind them, we've got people in our groups are full of people who've given faithfully to make this campus happen, who've served regularly to make this campus happen, who've invited persistently to make this campus happen. And so this is not something that can just be easily ignored or pushed off. Why would you want to miss a time where you get to celebrate and see how God has used you and the people in your group in an incredibly profound way? And so if you can make it a priority, that would be fantastic, and encourage your people to make it a priority. I've already talked to people who are coming home early from vacation so that they can be a part of this event, who have chosen to, instead of leaving Sunday morning or Saturday night for a vacation, are leaving Sunday afternoon after church so they can be a part of this day, and to put that in front of your people, to make it a priority, to reschedule your business trips if you can. I get that church is not your entire life, but this is going to be a really special event. I think it's going to be the type of thing where if people miss it, they're going to be bummed that they didn't make it a higher priority. And so by asking people to kind of take a next step in making this a priority, I think this will be a cool way for us to see how God has been using them, and celebrating them will be encouraging, invigorating, and just plain fun. So I hope that you guys can be there. All right, for the training this week, I want to talk about situations that we run into all the time as group leaders. And I think we're going to talk about 4 different types of people that can make our group experience not optimal. I'm not going to go so far as to say they'll ruin a group, but they can make a group, instead of being a great discussion, they can kind of just be an okay discussion. Or they could be persistently damaging the ability of your group to be better and be more effective. They could remove people's ability to be comfort and engage, and you can slip into a pattern with some of these people styles and personality styles that could just make your group not healthy. And you may have recognized this, maybe you've even dealt with this before, but I want to run through with this. Some of this might be intuitive, you do these things, but it's just a good reminder for you to kind of get this language and be talking about this as a group leader so you can tackle some of these issues. So there are 4 people that can kind of ruin the group experience. And I just want to remind you again, the goal of group is not to get through all the content or answer all the questions. The goal of group is to have great discussions that encourage people to grow, to be vulnerable, and to take a next step in their relationship with Jesus. And these 4 people can derail that. The first one is Dan the Dominator. Dan the Dominator is usually gregarious, outgoing type, or maybe they're just incredibly assertive. And what I know about Dan is that Dan often is the kind of person who is going first in almost every answer to the question. They're taking up a big part of the conversations out of good intention. Maybe they recognize that other people aren't talking. Maybe they're at a spot where they're really excited. Or maybe there's a spot where they feel like someone's given a poor answer, or it has just been strange or not the best experience. So Dan the Dominator jumps in and takes over. And one of the ways that we can coach and deal with Dan the Dominator is to take them aside and say, hey man, I love your passion. I love the fact that you're always the first to go. I love the fact that you have so much to share, but I want to encourage you to help me as a leader create space in our group for other people to participate. So I want you to think intentionally about maybe not going first, maybe sitting back and waiting, even if it's a little bit awkward and people are waiting for you to jump in, and give people permission to jump in so that when you talk, you can affirm other people, that you can celebrate what other people say, you can agree with other people, and not always set the tone. Dan the Dominator can also always go and give the right answer first and not create enough space or enough authenticity or vulnerability in the way that they engage that topic that allows for the real answer, which we talked about a few weeks ago, to start coming out in the conversation. So the best way to deal with Dan is to actually pull them aside before and after group, one, to let them know what your expectation is, that you're inviting them to partner with you in creating a better group, but 3, to celebrate them afterwards and say, hey man, I thought you did a good job. Because Dan is a dominator, he's going to be a verbal processor, and he's going to need you to give him feedback on how well he did in group and not dominating. Okay, second person. Nate the non-talker. Often a dude, but not always. Sometimes there's Nancy the non-talker. They sit with their arms crossed, they play on their phone, they're doing whatever, or maybe they sit there and they're just chilling out. And the thing I know about Nate is sometimes Nate doesn't participate because he's so excited about what everyone else has to say. He's genuinely soaking it all up. Or maybe he's insecure, and the reason why he's not sharing, he doesn't feel like he has a lot to offer the group. Nate is someone, again, that you want to pull aside after, but you can also engage Nate during group, but pull Nate aside after and say something along the lines of this: Nate, I think you've got a lot to offer the group, and so when you sit back and don't participate, I think it's unfortunate that you don't share what's really going on inside you. When I've had conversations with you, you've had great things that you're thinking and great things that you share that I've learned from and appreciated, and I want the rest of the group to have that as well. I want to encourage you to speak up and go outside of your comfort zone. Jesus often wants to push us outside of our comfort zone for us to grow, and I think this is an area where you can do that. Encourage them to jump in first or second and not just sit back and participate. And maybe even something along the lines of this: during the group, when someone is saying something that you think they might have a good answer, call them out on it. Obviously nice. Don't be like, all right, Nate, come on, open up. Don't be a coward. That's not helpful. But something along the lines of this: say, hey, I would love to hear from Nate. I know that you've dealt with this in the past. All right, Dang, I know you were divorced. We're talking about divorce right now. Would you mind if you feel comfortable sharing? And then celebrate these people when they share. After they share, publicly say, hey, Nate, I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you for being vulnerable. You're modeling for the rest of the Nates in the group that it's a safe place, it's an encouraging place, and it's just a way that you can coach Nate. All right. Third, Ralph the Rabbit Trailer. Ralph the Rabbit Trailer is often just thinking in all these different ways, and they're going off in different tangents, and they're not always helping the conversation be healthy and awesome and amazing. One thing to keep in mind with Ralph the Rabbit Trailer is sometimes people rabbit trail if they're a natural comedian, and they sense either the group is getting too serious or it's getting too awkward, and they jump in. 100% honesty here. Of all these people, I'm probably a combination of Dan the Dominator and Ralph the Rabbit Trailer. When it gets awkward or when it gets strange or it gets too serious, I like to break the mood with humor. It's immature of me. I wish I was better at it. But those are some of the reasons why people rabbit trail. Or third, sometimes people are just strange. They're rabbit trailers. They just think differently. They're just out there. And this is just a great way to, again, is to have a conversation with them beforehand and say, hey man, if this happens in a group, Ralph, I just want to let you know that I'm going to listen to you. I want to value you, but I may have to pull us back onto course pretty strongly, and I don't want you to take it personal, so you know why I'm doing that. What I found often with a lot of Ralphs is they have no problem with that. They don't even know they're doing it sometimes. And if they do know it, they're like, oh yeah, I get it, don't worry about it. And they don't take it personal. And also give them the chance to say, no, I really was getting at something. You give them the freedom to actually push back a little bit. Say, no, I know it felt like a rabbit trail, but stick with me. I think this will be a valuable answer to the discussion. Just great coaching to give them and great feedback for you. Lastly, Ike the Insensitive. One of the things that's interesting is sometimes Ike the Insensitive and Nate the Non-Talker can look similar. They can be a person where they're quiet, and when they have something to say it harshly. And here's a great way where this comes out. This is often something you want to be sensitive to when it comes to politics, not because we're trying to have politically correct groups, but there is a pattern often with Christianity because of the worldview that Christians offer that kind of defaults to a more neutral or conservative mindset. And so we want to be really careful, especially people who are new to Christianity or who are baby Christians. They oftentimes have not developed the palate to understand a biblical worldview from a progressive or even extreme conservative worldview. That's not saying like progressive is not Christian or conservative is. That's not the case. You can go either way on this. But oftentimes strong political convictions are connected to weak understanding of the gospel and scripture. And the more mature someone is in the gospel, the more they actually can temper some of those complex, hard topics without coming across as insensitive or hurtful. And so with Ike, one of the things that you want to do is give him coaching. The thing that's great about Ike is they're not sensitive. They're not going to have their feelings easily hurt. And you just want to have a conversation where you walk through as specifically as you can. We say something like this: hey Ike, when you made that joke, you made so-and-so feel uncomfortable. They like you, they like being here, but it can make someone like them who believes what they believe about the world really feel not safe. And I know that you don't want that. I know that I don't want that. So could you just help me when it comes to your jokes or when it comes to your political comments, just kind of put those aside for the group and really engage more with the topic at hand in scripture and with your life, and avoid some of these hot topic issues like politics or really controversial, open-handed theological issues. It just helps us create a safer environment. And you can help by coaching them on how to apologize. One of the things that's true about group life is we got to have the grace in our groups to allow people to be able to step on our toes sometimes. And so Ike is no more an offender than anyone else on any of these other things, but it's just a great way to do coaching. And so one of the things you can do in your group is if you're feeling like your group is not going deep or not having good questions, or it's kind of awkward, or it's not straight, or it's not straight line from conversation to conversation, to really focus on maybe even doing this training, walking through these different types, allowing people to identify where they think they stand, and just getting a consensus as a group that we want to address these things so that we can have the best group possible. Thank you for investing in yourself as a leader. I hope this training was helpful for you and helps your group be better as you coach your group to be a more engaging, more healthy, more awesome group as you take your group's next step. Thanks so much for being a leader. Talk to you soon. Bye.